So thank you for coming to today's model school session. This session is using AI with students, and it's AI in the K-12 classroom. And Rachel, since you're like the only one here, you know what happens when you're the only one here? You get the focus, so we get to play just for you. I even celebrated Cinco de Mayo Day. Look at me. So, all right. So the first thing we're going to start with today is just a quick question on which food matches your mood. I'm going to put back up. All right. So identify the number, your role in education and where you're tuning in from. Perfect. I'm always a 3. I feel like everything's a 3, but 3 forever. Right. So can you see the chat?
I can.
Right. Perfect.
I'm trying to open it. For some reason, I clicked on the chat and then it told me to leave the Zoom meeting. And
No,
I was like, no.
you silly thing. Right. There you go. All right.
Okay. So I'm on it. Am I typing it in?
Yeah.
Oh, after the chat.
Yep.
Okay. Number I identify with. 3. Spanish. Can't even type right now. Spanish teacher, Middleburg.
All right. Awesome. Wow. That is crazy. Came up like huge on my screen.
I don't.
Oh, great. I'll take it. Listen.
I don't know what I'm doing.
No big deal. All right. So fantastic. I am also a 3 as a training specialist, and I'm coming from Malone, New York. So I do work for NERIC, but I am an hour north of Lake Placid. Our region is very large, so I am way up north where at least the sun is out-ish, and it's 60 some odd degrees, and there's no snow on the ground finally. So it's kind of nice that finally we hit May with no snow. All right, let's go there, Mr. Booster. Go. So I just thought I'd do a little bit about my AI journey. For those of you that don't know me, Virginia Bond like James, Virginia like the state. And I started looking into AI in like January 2023. So I'm considered to be late to the party, January, which is just really funny since it came out like October of 2022. And I'm like, wow, I thought it was kind of like catching up, but didn't do a ton with it. Like I used it a little, I read about it, stuff like that. And then last year I applied into the Google Academy, to the Google Innovator Academy. And with Innovator last year, a lot of their, you were solving a problem, but they gave us 5 agencies to work with. And I chose the ISTE. I chose ISTE. And my problem had to do with teacher efficiency and ways to use AI. So out of that, what I'm working on is something called the AI playbook. Name is still possible to change. I'm not really sure. But what do the best practices of AI look like? This year, I've had the opportunity to teach for state ed in the Vital Educators program. I am one of the AI consultants. So I've been teaching teachers from around the state, including New York City, AI, ways to use AI in their classrooms, and just like some of the basics of AI, kind of through like how to build chatbots. So it's kind of been a progression. And what I've seen for the most part is that AI is not being used in schools very much. It's being used a lot by teachers, and I kind of want to take the next jump, like let's start to use it for students. Saying that, there's not a lot out there right now for student usage. There's a little bit, it's coming. I think we're going to see in the next year a huge explosion of how AI can be used with students.
I don't know, because like the EdLaw 2D, like all the info that it gathers, like it seems like every time my school highlights a new resource to use with students, it's like blocked, you know?
Yeah, I agree. So this is our district, straight up data privacy policy, right? Just make sure that whatever you're using, you are asking about it, to read anything. I've got a couple tricks along the way of ways you can use it and some different things. So you're teaching, are you like a middle school, high school Spanish teacher? Are you the only one?
I'm a department of 2 in my district.
You're
Um,
the one of two. Okay.
yeah. So for the last 7 years, I taught at the middle school level. This is my first year at the high school. Yeah.
All right. Awesome. So quick agenda. Well, it looks quick, but it's not as quick as it seems. But we're going to talk about AI concepts, AI literacy, some strategies and best practices, and activities broken down by grade levels. I actually added some resources in there as well. So part of what I've been doing in kind of this, in my innovator project is I kind of just reading a lot. I'm reading a lot. I'm taking a lot of certifications. All the New York State approved tools, I now have a certification in. So I have like certifications in Bresk, Diffit, Magic School, School AI, CuriePod. Those are the only 5 right now that are being used in New York State in a high capacity. So, but I have lots of other things too that I'm using along the way. So some things to keep in mind for AI just in general. Large language models are only for students over the age of 18, with the exception of paid Gemini if your district allows you to use it with your students. So there's a lot of ifs in there. I'll try that again. Large language models are only for students over the age of 18. And if I am true to NERIC.2D, they can't use them while they're a student in the school, even if they are 18 while they're in our presence. That's how the law is written. It is what it is. Gemini has an age component of 13 to 18 if it's a paid version of Google. As in, if your district purchases anything over the basic educational component, you are able to use Gemini with your students if your district allows it.
What about like, because I'm thinking of how I use AI with my students already, like image generators, like Canva has a bunch. Adobe
So those
Firefly.
are considered, yes, because they're embedded into a tool. So yes, yeah. And that's kind of, in a lot of cases, like muddied the waters in a lot of ways. So when I'm talking about AI tools, like that's a great question. I'm really talking about tools that are primarily focused on AI. They're not like, because like Edpuzzle has an AI component, Kami has an AI component, everybody has that now, right? So I'm kind of thinking of things that are primarily focused to AI. So student usage of AI tools is recommended to only be in district purchase tools or district approved tools. You could use things with like no login if the district says yes. There's a couple examples of that. Goblin tools, which is a tool I'll show later. That's a tool that has no login to it. None at all, none for anybody. You can log in, but you can use it without a login. Kind of great. Perplexity is another tool that can be used without a login, right? Just, it's not going to save your students' information, but it's another tool that can be used that can be very helpful. Okay, so why? Why are we kind of focusing on those? And it's really because we are hoping, well, we're not hoping, we know that when a district purchases a tool, it's putting the educational safeguards in place, and NERIC.2D is protecting your students. So things like the data privacy component, which is huge, and that's really the biggest one. It's making sure our students' data is staying safe. So one of the things I like to say to people, if you're unsure if you can use it, always ask before using. The other thing I like to say is, like, if you want to use a tool and you can't use it with your school account, it's really okay to create your own account with your own email and set it up like that and create an account that you can use. I have been teaching some people that made like their own AI account in Google. So it'd be like Virginia uses AI at gmail.com and signs up for all her AI, all their AI stuff with that email. So it's all in one place. That's always an option. Okay, so some basic concepts. Basic concepts of AI. I'm just going to do quick vocabulary, right? LLM, large language models. There are 4 out there. ChatGPT, Copilot, Claude, and Gemini. Those are considered to be the 4 large language models. Generative, just like the word generate, you're creating something from nothing, is the way I like to say that. You're creating something from other parts here and there, which is one of the reasons why when we talk about cheating, catching kids cheating in AI, you can't really do it because it's creating
there's
some.
ways.
Oh, well, yeah. I mean, if you check their, if you check version history, like in a Google, I mean, that's the biggest checker. But
What some
most
teachers I know use, they'll put an assignment, like in Google
they put the
Classroom or
banana
whatever.
phrase in there. They'll do the
Yes,
hidden
and like
banana.
tiny white print, like talk about an armadillo riding a seal with wearing a top hat or something. And if
Yep,
that shows up, you know it's not.
that works. But there are no tools that you can buy, right? And it's a really,
Correct.
I mean, people say there are, and I'm like, don't do that because you're just wasting money. That's one way. I mean, quite honestly, what we have to do is a shift in education to get people to a way so we're not doing that. Okay, the next thing is prompting. It's the info entered into the AI to get an output. So input to get output. So the words we've probably never used in our whole lives. I can imagine that 99.9% of all educators have never used the terms input output because it's just not something you typically use. Now it can really become part of our regular vocabulary. And the last one are, I don't know why I did this, sorry. Oh no, go back. So this is what happens when you don't proofread it well enough. Hallucinations equal confabulations. The terminology has been hallucinations in the past. They are in the process of kind of changing that language to confabulations. So I'm just going to put in there, AI is making you happy, right? The goal is that AI is trying to give you an answer that sounds like it's something that you would like. Okay? So that's why we call it a hallucination. They are changing that word. Confabulation. I'm like, I feel like people understand hallucinations more than they understand confabulations, but it's okay. Hallucinations work on a process. They work on a 0 and 1. So 0 is like the level set, and 1 is like it's going to do something to make you happy or give you a response that you like. And because of hallucinations / confabulations, we want to make sure we're always checking our content. All right, so how does AI even work? So this is my simplified, almost flow chart. All AI is based on a large language model. All generative AI is based on a large language model, even if it doesn't say it is. Like Magic School is what we call a wrapper over another tool. School AI is a wrapper over another tool. So anyway, a large language model is trained on a massive amount of text data. And I have a graphic for this that can kind of help. And it is trained to recognize patterns and relationships between words, which is just weird. It's kind of like the way we learn to read. So, which allows it to give you to understand and provide to you human-like text. So it sounds like somebody has written it. Although when I use Claude AI or ChatGPT, it writes way above what I would typically write as. It's not in language that I would use. That just made me sound like I'm stupid. I'm not stupid. I just don't use that kind of technical, how do we say this? Wordy. It's a little too wordy sometimes for language. And after the LLM, you do this, you give it a prompt, and the prompt will give you the prize. That's the celebration here, right? So you kind of work through this part, this. But the part that makes AI so magical is that it does it in like rapid form, right? We can give it information, and what it's doing is it's basically pulling information from all of these different places all over the internet or on whatever topic it was trained in or trained on, and will give you that information pretty quickly, which is really funny because the other day I was using Diffit with a group of teachers, and they're like, wow, this is really slow. And I was like, wow, that's kind of crazy. When you think that it takes 30 seconds to get that back. And I said to them, some of you show that you've never used dial-up for anything. And they were like, oh my gosh, right? So the concept of taking time is just really, so most AI, when you started in like 22 and 23, is going to take you about a half a minute to a minute to get a good response back. And as they've gone through the renditions, because I was using it at 1.0, and as you're starting to go through those renditions, every time they give it a rendition, they're increasing speed and they're increasing the data set that they're giving it. So right now, Chat GPT 4.5 or 5.0 has absolutely, the paid version has absolutely the entire internet upon it. It has any information that you would provide to it, and the entire Library of Congress and all books added into it, which is mind-boggling to me, right? Just mind-boggling to me, overwhelming. So you can literally ask it anything. And for the most part, you'll get a up-to-date, pretty truthful statement. Now, if you went to AI and asked it, I tried to add it in, I didn't add it in, but if you asked any AI for 2 of the most recent pictures from Trump's Twitter account,
It won't do it.
It won't do it. And the reason is because it hasn't been trained on that data yet.
It tells me that it won't do anything political. It has told me that before. Maybe not ChatGPT, but the generative AI has done that, like Adobe Firefly. And then sometimes I put posts into it where like it tells me it's inappropriate and like little things,
because
like someone's chopping an onion with a knife, and it'll tell me, no, knife is an inappropriate word. We can't do that. Like, you know.
So that may be part of a filter within the school as well, right? Some of those things. But it won't train on like the newest things that happen. So for example, if the Pope was chosen today, ChatGPT can't tell you about it. I mean, it can't really anyway, but it wouldn't be able to pull that information out because it doesn't have the most recent data. It's only trained to a certain date. And then when it's retrained and resent out as a new rendition, that becomes the most recent. So it's never going to give you like up-to-date current events. Sorry, I was having a hard time pulling it. But it's doing a lot of information pretty slow. I mean, pretty fast, pretty slow. I was telling somebody the other day when I started teaching using the internet in general, which is what we used to call it, teaching using the internet, which is kind of mind-boggling. It was considered amazing when Yahoo went to folders. So there was a structure for Yahoo, and you'd look under education, and then you would do like a search. And then when you started search, you could go in and you could get more targeted into these folders. It was like a huge shift. But I was like, wow, we've come pretty far from that. And that was before Google existed, which is also a little bit mind-blowing. That's what I tell my 5-year-old granddaughter. Nani was around before Google was a thing. And she's like, no. And I'm like, yes. All right, so let's go into AI literacy, some of the components of AI literacy. So the considerations in general are like, what does it look like, right? What does AI literacy really look like? And there's a lot of pieces, and I think this is, I tried to stay very broad for like grades. Well, it is K through 12. So we're going to get a chance to like kind of target in, but this is what I would consider to be like AI literacy in general, how it works. Now, like the definition I just gave you, like it's a large language model. It's trained on this. You put information in and it gives you something out is the perfect definition for like kindergarten, first, second grade. That definition needs to be a lot more robust when we get to a high school student, right? But we also, as humans, as teachers and as humans, we don't need all the nitty-gritty nonsense. So that's just me being like, nobody needs that much information. So we have to understand how to interact with an AI tool. We need to use it responsibly, and that includes data privacy, so we're not adding our own AI information. Yeah. We need to use it ethically. Before, when I talked about the internet being used, or AI using the internet, it's using all of the internet. So not everything on the internet is truthful or good, right? So thinking about ethically, we don't want kids to use AI in bad ways. I like to think of things like character AI. There's been some character AI uses that have not been ethical. And equitable. We want to make sure we're using it in an equitable manner. Okay, also, other ethical considerations around bias. We know that AI is biased, so we need to make sure that we're teaching students about what that bias looks like, and we need them to make sure they're looking at it and using a critical eye and maybe questioning things. It's not much different than using the internet. We need to make sure that students are checking their sources and that things are ethical. And then misinformation, right? We, as content experts in whatever field we're in, we know what we're looking for, and it might not always give us the information. And I'm going to use my Google example. I'm a Google innovator. I know almost everything there is about Google, but I wanted to know what Gemini had to say about workspaces. Now, this sounds really weird, but I'll show you what I mean. So when I go into a Google Drive, so I was asking Google about this, and when I went into my NERIC account, I didn't want to know about the Google Workspace. I wanted to know about workspaces within Google Drive. And that stupid Gemini would not give me the answer. And I had to say to it 3 or 4 times, that's not what I'm looking for. I'm looking for the information workspaces built within Google Drive. And it finally said to me, I can't explain that because I've not been trained on that. And I was like, okay, but you have to know enough about that the information it's giving you is not correct. Students need to use AI for learning purposes rather than shortcuts and or cheating, just in general, right? It's not just about efficiency, it's kind of the next step. And then use AI in the correct manner according to the task and the specifics sent to them, not sent, how about set? Some days, set by the educator, the institution, or the agency. And we're going to talk a little bit about that today and what that'll look like. Okay, so a lot of the work I've been doing, like I said, is kind of like looking to see what other people are doing. And this is what I consider to be some of the best work out there right now. And this is from Texas. So TCEI, and if you click on this link, it will take you to the AI literacy framework. And you can click on this. Have you seen this before, Rachel? Oop, I muted you, sorry. Go ahead. Oh, I still can't hear you. I think when you moved, I can't hear you now. That's strange. She's like, oh, poo. No, you're there. All right, so in this AI literacy framework, what you'll see, there's a breakdown across the grade levels. And I really like this because it's, and I'll take this link and I'll put it in the deck. Right there. So there's that. No, Rachel, I can't hear you. No. I don't know what happened. You can still hear me though. I think when you shifted spaces, so in here, this documentation, like I said, is from Texas, very good. It has alignment across the bottom. So this is just literacy components. So we're gonna look at yours. We're gonna go into the high school, right? This talks about new AI concepts. Now, understanding that your kids might not get to all of these, might have to go backwards and look at some of these because they haven't done any of that in the past, right? So there's a lot of these skills in here. You also can see like a vertical alignment of these, which is very cool. And they've taken it and they, what I super like about it, they've taken that and really described what it is and what it isn't. They've gone through prompting, applications. I truly think this is one of the best alignments that I've seen so far. New York State hasn't provided anything yet. So I'm like, okay, so Texas is kind of right along. They're pretty good. So let's look at like 9 through 12. Learn about AI and cybersecurity and privacy protection. So that can be like part of a conversation just to say to students like, hey, when we're using an AI tool, do you think it makes sense to tell them like our birthday, our address, our kind of all of those things, like so that we make sure that students aren't learning that they're learning that information from us because they're probably not going to learn it from anybody else. And I think that's a really valuable thing to do. So I love this document. What it also has in here is if we're going to go all the way over and we can look, they also have 9, we're going to look at the activities in a minute and resources. But what I'd like you to do is I'd like you to like look through, you can either look at the framework tab at the bottom or the vertical alignment tab at the bottom and choose one of those that really speaks to you. So, right, check your grade band and what is one area or idea you can start with. Now, if you want to go backwards, you absolutely can. You don't have to stay on the grade level. So is there something in there that really kind of speaks to you? I see that lean in. I like this one. Exploring AI, related career paths and related skills. Crafting prompts, fantastic. Yeah, right? Awesome. And that's like, first of all, kids can't learn enough about crafting prompts. So for me, that's like, adults can't learn enough about it either, right? There's oh, there you are. Your
Okay, I plugged you in and then it didn't want me and then it made horrible noises. I don't know.
It's okay, great. So like, I think kind of looking at it, there's a lot in here. And there's a lot in here. Every time I say that to people, I'm always like, you don't have to recreate the wheel in 1 year, right? A little bit, and a little bit goes a long way. And if everybody takes a little bit and does a little bit, that's really helpful. But crafting prompts is just like good input versus garbage in, garbage out. So I like to say instead of GIGO, we get GUGO, right? Really good, good in, good out. Awesome. All right. So strategies and best practices. What does that look like? Again, all the work I've been doing, my focus has really been about best practices. Nobody, shocking, has best practices documentation out there. We just haven't had it long enough. So these are kind of things that we've worked on as I've been working with teachers, as I'm seeing teachers use it. And there's small pockets of people using AI with students, but not a lot. So this is the one that I would say is super helpful to really do some explicit modeling. And we usually do the I do, we do, you do across like an entire like lesson. But I think for AI, it may make more sense to do I do. So it's like teacher led in an elementary setting, right? Especially if you don't have a designated tool. So the teacher can do a lot of the things for students, can do it with them, can model for them in general. You can do group work in like late elementary, middle school, That's a great way to do it. And I basically just mean having them work together so that they can bounce ideas off of each people. They're really staying true to what they see, and they're really having an opportunity to talk about what they're getting back, and if it's good, if it's bad, if it's otherwise. And then in high school, you do. So having more of that independence. And for me, that's also prepping kids to be ready to go to college or to use AI tools in the fields that they happen to be in. I think that's going to be very important. One of the things I was talking to my 32-year-old son the other day, and we were talking about, he's like, I don't really use AI. And I'm like, dude, listen, I know you're a nurse. And I know you're like, I know you're a nurse and I know you have to know everything, but you can't know everything. So he just took his national boards. Like he's been an RN for like 6 years. He just took his national boards and he's like, there's 175 questions on this exam, right? He got 17 wrong, which I was like, okay, that's not bad. He goes, I can guarantee you I got every snake question wrong. He goes, because you know what? No snake bites in Northern New York. That's not anything I really need, right? I don't know snake bites. I don't know what they look like. I don't know how to treat them.
There's some rattlesnakes in the Adirondacks.
Yeah, but not enough that people probably know poisonous ones, right? So he's like, I don't know. So if I ever am somewhere like Phoenix or Florida that I need that, I'm going to just have to use Google. I said, or you could use AI and you'd get a faster response. He's like, come on, Mom, you're killing me. You're killing me. And I'm like, no, stop. So I think it's, having them realize that there are different ways. And he said they do have doctors in the hospital using it to look up, like to put in like symptoms to see if they can get possible diagnoses back on like cases they're not sure about. They've asked everybody, nobody can come up with it, but it can search a lot faster than they can and a lot faster than Google can in general. So explicit modeling just broken down across a longer amount of time.
I just put it into ChatGPT, by the way. I got bit by a snake. What do I do so I don't die?
There you
I'm not
go.
supposed to suck out the venom, cut the bite, or use a tourniquet, or drink coffee. Oh.
Drink what?
I'm not supposed to drink coffee. Darn.
Oh, oh gosh. All right. So the next thing, another good strategy is, so this is a Matt Miller. It comes out of, I think his AI for Educators book. And it's like kind of figure out where you are on the continuum as a teacher, like, right? And this takes time, like kind of to feel comfortable about like, I'm here, and also like, where are my students, right? So this is fun, like, where do you sit? I think this is really good, and this is a good conversation. It's going to go with the next document I show. This is a good conversation to have with students in general, right? It's not black or white. It's not, yes, I used AI, and no, I didn't. Because you know what? I use AI a lot. And I have a slide in here later about how I used it for this presentation to do some of the things that I did, because there's a lot of content, but there's little pieces here, snippets here and there. It would have taken me days to pull that all into a cohesive manner, whereas I can use AI to help me do that. But it didn't create the content. It did some of the research for me in the background. So this is always nice to know, like, where you are as a teacher and where you think it fits. So the next one is like, really create your own classroom norms. So this is a document put out by Holly Clark, and I always say it, but I never remember, Alex McMillan, because I can't ever remember him. I like to call it the tape document, and it uses this mnemonic of transparency, accuracy, process, and expectations. And you put those pieces together and you kind of like work your students through this process of what it's going to look like. So I love this document. I think it's fantastic. The first 3 pages are the best. I don't care about the last couple. Here's the one that I really like. This one's great, I think, for classroom teachers. Students think alone, so that's a level 1. 2, they can plan with an AI. 3, they can bounce ideas or brainstorm. 4, they can ask for feedback. And 5, they can create elements. Right? It's a great way to kind of think your way through that and what it looks like. They have some apps in here as well. They also have prompts, some other things in here. It's a nice document. It's just really simple to use. It's nice for a review. So like, where do you sit on that? Now, if this is something that really resonates with you, one of the things that we've been hearing lately from Eric Kurtz, if you've never heard of Eric Kurtz at Control Alt Achieve, he calls it a CYA, cover yourself, right? Policy for your own classroom. Some districts have things in place, some districts do not. So what I did is I put the article here. I also linked it. Oh, I did not want to do that. Sorry. I also linked it right here. You can go into this article. He actually gives you templates to use. Excellent. I'm not recreating the wheel. When somebody does it well, I'm just going to use what they have. So this is excellent. You copy the template. You can go through and do it. You can view it. You can copy it. He goes through the way, like to have permitted uses, prohibited uses, and additional guidelines, how to customize it, how to edit it, and it kind of walks you all the way through. I really like this. I think this is a great way to have something already pre-built that you can just edit to your own use. And it's very new. I mean, within the last 6 weeks, he came out with this. It's a very nice document. This document right here is from Oregon Department of Education. I could not find, so this is from 2023. It's a little old yet. It's not really out of date yet. I read through it. It has some good terminology. It gives you some good content as well. And it's only 11 pages. So it's one of the things that I really liked was this part, the tables. It's good enough. I'm sure they'll have updated it in the near future, but I feel like it's one of the things that's good enough and it's not overwhelming. So like Rachel, in a situation, maybe you're working with somebody who has no AI experience or teachers that are like, I don't even know where to start. This is one of those, like, it's not a book, it's not a website, but it's something they can put in their hands and hold on to and read, right? It's one of those things that sometimes you just need to have one of those. 11 pages too, it's not overwhelming because a lot of these new papers are like 40 pages, 80 pages. And I'm like, oh my gosh, it's too much. So I do like that. That's quick and easy. Okay, so like some kind of AI policy for your classroom. It could be like, I'll tell you what it's going to be. This is what it's going to be, right? It doesn't have to be anything major. Just another thing to think about, especially with high school students, Okay, so some best practices to teach students about AI. Let students know what they're using it for, right? We're doing this so you can practice on your own. So that's especially if you're going to do anything with like chat bots at all. If you're going to do anything with spaces, bots, that is super helpful. We're using this because I need you to be able to practice on your own, okay? I need to see where you're really struggling, or you can use it to practice on your own. Keeping their own personal information private. So this is a huge thing. I have to say this to my 60-some-odd-year-old husband many, many times. I'm like, you know what? Nobody needs your real birthday except the bank and the doctor. You can lie to everybody else in the world, right? Because my birthday is like 6/6/66. That's what I tell people all the time. So not my real birthday. And I'm like, but nobody else needs my real birthday. Using good manners, asking good questions, right? That comes back to like what you were saying about you would work on crafting prompts, right? Because you can't, there is no perfect prompt. I can always write a better prompt, no matter what. Ask for help if you need it, not just of a teacher, of an adult, but of the actual AI itself. I was checking chatbots the other day for our the Vital Educator program I'm in, and I had 150 chatbots that were built by people in the session, and I'm trying to try them all, right? I'm trying to give each of them a little bit of time so I can go through them. I don't know. One was on physics. So the first question they asked, I'm like, can you define that word? I have no idea what that is, right? I took physics about 45 years ago, so there's no way I remember what that is. So it's okay to ask the bots questions. Start with a partner or in small groups, right? Especially if you're going to do anything with groups, you can do small group explore for a few minutes. They can report out, and then they can go back into the small and report out. You can give them paper to write down, so you're making sure they're staying in a tune if you feel like you have to give them a grade. And then really limit time to 5 to 8 minutes to start with. Probably never should be using AI for a full 40-minute period. It's way too much, right? It's too much to kind of work through. Could be to kind of work through things, but that will happen. Okay, so AI. So in the AI document that I shared before, which was a spreadsheet, and I'm going to move this little guy out of the way. If you go on the bottom of that, I didn't show all of this, but if you go all the way to the bottom, the tabs, there are activities in each one of these and resources. I kind of just left them there so you can explore them on your own. They are broken out by grade level, which I super like, along with some like AI, the day of AI curriculum. I think each one of them has some of that. So I think that's really nice, kind of built together. This is from I would tell you, I knew where I got this from, but it was a conglomeration of teachers from Florida, Texas, which I would never ever believe that Florida and Texas would be ahead of New York, but they are, kind of working through this, working together to kind of build this activity. Really love that. And I was like, oh, I'm going to use that better than me creating the wheel. But beyond that, let's look at a couple other things. So I went through and created some like other activities in here of just some other ideas of things you can use. I'm going to show a couple of them to you. So this is Say What You See. Have you ever seen Say What You See before? So Say What You See is an experiment by Google that cannot be pushed to cannot be pushed to students, because you can't use experiments with students because they're not EdLaw 2D compliant. But this is why I put it in the K2, like K through 5. You can do it if it's teacher led. So it's about learning the art of prompting. So what you're going to do is you need to match this with a prompt. So that's the artwork. And you need to write a prompt that will get you close to this within 50%. So I'll start, right? I'll give it the first go. Divide the block into 2/3. 2/3. The top third will be light green and will feed into the bottom third. I might be off on this. Which will be, what do you think? Pink. And then all you do is check it. I got right to 120 characters.
I
Oh,
probably would have said like vertical gradient green to pink and just kept it. I don't know.
yeah, that's what they did. They did a gradient running from pale green to dusty pink. Okay, I don't even see the green. But this is a great way for kids to like give you ideas, right? Okay, so we got through the first one. Next one. She's like, what is it?
Ramen with farm fresh egg.
Ramen.
Bok choy noodles and pickled radish.
Pickled radish.
Okay, let's see what it comes up with. I feel like ramen's an obvious one, but I mean, well, wait, maybe fancy ramen so it doesn't think it's in the bag. Okay, okay. Got
83,
it.
right? So what I like about this is it's a great way to teach that beginning kind of prompting with kids, right? And this is like what I consider to be backup because you can actually kind of do it yourself if you have it and have students put it in, like, and you have them give them to you and you put them in to come up with other ones, like you give them the picture and then they all practice and then you just kind of practice putting them in so they can see them. You can use any AI tool. I always think that AI image generation is the gateway to prompting. That's what I like to tell people, right? Because the better your prompts are, the better AI images you're going to get back. Sorry. Okay, awesome. Fantastic. So that is say something, see some, or say what you see. Unfortunately, doesn't really change them. So I also have in here a couple other things like AI generated images. There's lots of places to do AI generated images right now. A lot of them are free. My favorite right now is Padlet.ta. Oh, it's ta.padlet.com. I couldn't remember it. So this is free. Oh, it was free. No, it's still free at the bottom, right? And you can do AI image. So create a picture of a cat. Oh, it'd be great if I typed in the box. Create a picture of a cat in a sombrero.
Aw.
Celebrating. I don't know what cats would celebrate. That's fine.
Celebrating its
Sombrero.
quinceañera, of course.
Okay, sure. I couldn't spell that in 100 days if I could.
Quinceañera.
Okay, so you'll see what it comes up with. And those pictures on the bottom, by the way, those are the styles that you can get, which I like because it does, I mean, that's pretty good, right?
Oh.
Right? I like this. So it's kind of a neat way for kids to try image generation. No, doesn't keep anything, but if they want them, they can just download these. This has only been out for about 5 weeks. I like it. It's simple, easy access. No login required because you can see that I am not logged into Padlet over there. So that's kind of cool. So Padlet TA is just definitely one of the fun ones. And I'm not going to go into school spaces, school AI spaces. So a 3.5, kind of the same exact thing, but descriptive language lessons. So having students create poems and then having them create the descriptive language in a prompt to build the images that go with the prompt. Also, think along the lines of like, where does AI currently exist in the world that they're in? Do they know that Siri is actually a machine tool, machine learning that is AI? No, they would lose their minds, right? They think the robots are coming to get them. So it's like for me, I want the refrigerator that reads, bless you, that the refrigerator that will give you your shopping list and it goes in and it tells you what you're missing and then it sends you that's an AI tool, right? Cool, right? That's another one. So grades 6 through 8. Here's a cool one. So this is another one by, oh my goodness, why are you doing that to me? This is another one by Eric Kurtz. This is a brand new one. He built a choose your own adventure story. He used it in a bot. I think this would be great for students to do. He actually provides the bot templates for them. So if like a teacher wanted to build these would also be cool, but they'd be fun to have kids kind of build them and see how they work. He's using 3. He's using ChatGPT, Gemini, and Claude. They're gonna have to wait. You can also pick the number of rounds. So like he did this one in the life of a bee. So it's very cool, right? He used this prompt, wrote it up. They also use things like you could put in the terms like nectar, pollen, colony, foraging, hive, ecosystem. So these can, and this is pretty cool because it's like it'll last for 6 rounds. So I think like students could use these, but so could teachers. They're pretty neat. You could do, I was thinking, was it one of the ones he does down here? He does one on a book and then he does one on the Oregon Trail. So I was thinking, oh, like a teacher could do a tour around the world. So that was thinking like Spanish, French teachers, that would be very cool. I have no idea why somebody's trying to call me. Sorry. Yeah, they're gonna have to wait because I can't take that right now. Okay. All right, so let's look at the next one. And I think that was 6 through 8, right? Ethical issues of AI usage, the good, the bad, and the ugly. It's like Coyote Ugly, right? What does it look like? What are good ways to use it? What are bad ways? I always like to do that in a middle school setting because they can always come up with some really not great ways. They have creative little minds. But I think it's good for them to have that kind of experience and to talk about them. And then 9 through 12. So build a bot to solve a problem. What that could be. Ask for feedback on writing. Oh my gosh, I do that a lot. I'll write something and I'll ask for feedback. Sometimes it's just sometimes just an email. I want it to rewrite that email in a clearer way. Excuse me, I know what I'm trying to say, but it might not be coming across the way I need it to. So that can be helpful. Create a study tutor based upon resources and notes. Right? Students have the ability to do that in Gemini. Hopefully Notebook LM will be opened up for ages 13 to 18, because that would be wonderful for them. To have that ability to create those tutors or to use a tutor. There are lots of tutors out there already. School AI has tutors built in, but teaching them how to use a tutor is very important. So it's not like simple. So I would say like for Spanish, one of those, you still have to do what's your state exam called? They changed the name of it.
So I don't even know. It's a Regents equivalency exam for
Yes.
Spanish 1 and 3. Also called the Checkpoint A, Checkpoint B exam, but there's like a million different kinds now. They're trying to re-standardize it almost. They're changing the standards, but like, I don't know. It's complicated.
It can't ever be easy, right? So, but if you wanted students to practice, wouldn't it be great? And I don't know if this tool even exists yet, but give students a scenario where they could talk back to it in a language. Man, wouldn't that be great? I mean, who knows? Maybe I bet you could create a bot that would do that.
I did use ChatGPT actually to come up with scenarios for my speaking exam. Like, obviously not like, just like I am your teacher. You were discussing the school play with me. Come up with some ideas of what you want the play to be next year, like little things like that. But I mean, what you're saying is up a notch.
Right. That would be great though, right? So brainstorming ideas. And I think teaching students how to start to brainstorm ideas. I guess I really liked brainstorm twice. There's a reason. Brainstorming ideas, just sometimes I just give AI a prompt and tell it to give me a list of ideas. There are other times that I use it as a thought partner and I start to bounce ideas off of it. Like I'm thinking this. Those are two different things, really, even though it doesn't seem like it. There are a lot of times when I'm building a session, I'll say to it, I'm thinking this, and this. Can you put that into an agenda for me so I can see what it might look like? Break it into 4 sections. I want it to look like this. It'll break the agenda, and then I can kind of work from that point to see if it's something I wanted to be a little bit more specific. I think that's a good tool for students to be able to do. And to research for sources. Now, the one thing I didn't show in here, which I really do want to show, is Perplexity. I don't know if you've ever seen it. It's called Perplexity AI. You can have an account. You don't have to have an account. But let's say I am doing, let's just do it. Using AI in the Spanish classroom. Hey, school. I'm going to tell it to provide sources. Let me see what it comes up with. So what I like about this is it goes in and it actually will give you, so this one gave you 20 sources about that. Not a big prompt, right? It's giving ideas, right? So I do really like that. And that's kind of going simple. I like this tool because it always gives you sources, right? You don't even have to ask for them. So it's always going to give you sources, which I think are great because then I can dive deeper into the sources. It'll give me more content. Okay, so just resources in general. I provided some websites in here. Common Sense Education now has like AI literacy lessons in there. This Michigan Virtual has AI literacy. If you scroll to the bottom and don't pay for it, but if you go to the bottom, they have free AI videos for students. They're like 1.5 minutes long. They're really good. And I was like, oh, these are great. Matter of fact, they're really good for adults. And I was like, that's some good stuff in there. Pretty simple to use. These are 3 of the books that I would recommend. I think these are some of the best that are out there, along with the 50 Strategies, the Piercy book, which is the 4th one, just didn't fit, right? These are what I've read this one. I've scanned this one. I love this one. I love Matt Miller in general, though. He's just excellent. And this is one of the new ones that I think are also really good. Like, right? Starting to
That's the
see
one I took a book study on with you guys recently.
Oh yeah, with Cheska. Yeah. Yeah. Excellent book. These are some of my favorite tools that I use all the time, right? I'm just kind of being real honest. Like I'm using Gemini and Notebook LM probably all the time. Here's what I did with our session. I thought I would show you this. Like I had been collecting sources for quite some time on AI. And what I did is I dropped them all into Notebook LM and started to ask it questions, right? Because there's a lot of articles. I think it was like 18 articles, and I had read them all, but I had read them all over time. So what I did is I put them in there, and I will continue to use this. I came back a couple times, like, hey, reorganize this for me, right? We talked about AI and instruction. And I actually used Perplexity to find these articles because I had a couple holes. But when I went to Perplexity, I made it look up articles that were for only January 1, 2024 and younger. I didn't know, you know what I mean. I didn't want old articles. I just wanted new articles within the last year. So that's another good way that you can use it. Then you can take your own notes if you've never used Notebook LM. That's a great tool for that. And then, okay, so like the first step. Why did my image not come in? My image is there, but not here. All right, well, who knows why? Let's see. Oh, there it is. Like where to start? Like, how are you going to start? So you were saying you're going to start with crafting prompts. That's a really good way to start. Like the process of like maybe using some of those, image generators, right? Giving the kids a picture and having them get back to it. That's a great way to kind of do that, I think is excellent. So here's the AI tools that I use while creating this presentation. Just to be honest, I use Notebook LM, and then I use Gemini and Adobe Express. So this is transparent. Sometimes I can't come up with a good image in my head of what I want. So I will go into Gemini and I will ask it to create 3 prompts that would show transparency. And then I take them and I plug them into Adobe Express. This one is actually out of Gemini. So I had one that was like maximizing time. I didn't want to use a clock, right? So I had it come up with prompts for that. It's a great way to use prompt to do some prompt engineering. And then, so too many questions, right? There's probably a lot. There's a lot in here. It's a big deck. There's a lot in here. Feel free to make your own copies so you have it. As I update those other AI tools, I will definitely have them in there so you can see them, but feel free to reach out if you have any questions. And when I get the video back, I will be sending it out. It'll probably be tomorrow. I am doing state testing tomorrow, so it may be later in the afternoon. It probably won't be first thing in the morning. You'll get the deck, you'll get the video, and you'll also get a Google form to fill out. That's pretty simple, just your overall components. So thank you so much.
course.
And I hope you have a great day.
You too.
Thanks.